Horns up and welcome to another episode of Will It Meet, my series where I take popular Indian vegetarian dishes and add meat to them because everything tastes better with meat. But that applies to savory foods for sure. But what about desserts? Well, let's put it to the test today. We're taking the classic Indian dessert Gajar ka Halwa, which is a sweet dish made out of carrots in the winter, and we're going to be adding some bacon into that. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let's get cooking. For this recipe, you need these red carrots. They generally show up in the winter in India, but if you aren't from this country, then use whatever carrots you can find. Once you are done peeling and washing your carrots, it's time to grate them. Now, instead of using this box grater, I'm going to use my food processor, which allows me to grate them in record time. Once our carrots are grated and ready, we can get cooking. Everybody knows a good Gajar ka Halwa starts with good quality bacon. And as always, we start by layering our bacon in a cold pan and then turning on the heat. And then by the magic of speeded up footage, the bacon fat renders out and the bacon fries in its own fat, and then once it's nice and crispy, I remove it from the pan. I also fry 2 additional strips of bacon that didn't fit in the pan, and once they are done, I remove them as well. Then I pour out that bacon fat into a ramekin and save it for making our halwa. I get the magically cleaned pan back on the stove and add in 2 tablespoons of that bacon fat. Then in go the carrots, and now you saute them till they start to change color and also soften up. Once that's happened, I add in 2 cups of milk and then mix it well and cover and cook for 10 minutes on a low heat. Meanwhile, it's time to chop my nuts. And I got cashews which are already broken up, so I leave them as they are. And I take the almonds and then I chop them into smaller pieces. I also take the crispy bacon and chop it up into little pieces. I check in on my carrots boiling away in the milk, and what you didn't see on the camera is that the milk bubbled over a bit, and I suggest you don't cover it with the lid, just cook it without the lid because we want the milk to cook off anyway. So now I just let this continue to cook uncovered on a low heat. While that's happening, I get a pan on the stove and heat up some bacon fat, and I add my nuts to the pan. Just the cashews first and let them fry. Once they have some color, in go the almonds and I fry that too, and then right at the end, in go some raisins, and then just fry those for 30 seconds and get it off the heat. Our carrots are still cooking along, and I'm gonna add in about half a cup of sugar because remember, this is a dessert. Of course, you can use a sugar-free alternative if you like. Then just mix that well and allow it to continue cooking. As the liquid in the pan has reduced and is almost gone, I add in some cardamom powder or Elaichi powder and then some grated Mava or khoya, which is basically milk that has been cooked and dried out. Alternatively, you can use milk powder if you can't find this where you live. Then in go the nuts and the raisins and also a tablespoon of ghee, and just give everything a good mix and the Gajar ka Halwa is ready. You want most of the liquid to have cooked out but the mixture to still be slightly wet. If you want it drier, go for it, cook it a little more. Anyway, I serve up some of that bacon Gajar ka Halwa, and of course this is definitely something that's going to challenge a lot of people's mindset, and as always I've got to give you that front shot of the Gajar ka Halwa, taste it as well. But now let's find out what other people think. Enough jibber jabber, time to taste.
My name is Ridvi, and by profession I'm a pastry chef and I'm an educator. So I work with pastries and I work with students and all. I teach them.
Hi, I'm Rachel and I'm a student.
I'm Shannon and I'm a professional chef.
Excellent. So Shannon,
Yeah.
do you have a sweet tooth?
I do, yes.
Yes, because I went into this profession because I had a sweet tooth.
Yes.
And how do you feel about Indian desserts?
Indian desserts depends on the dishes, not the deep fried ones and all. So yeah.
But you're not super kicked about Indian
No,
desserts.
no.
Not my first choice of preference, but yeah, I would say, being the fact that we are in India, yes, I've definitely had my fair share of Indian desserts. I think I've challenged a couple of friends once or twice to like number of gulab jamuns we could each eat. So yeah, let's say yeah.
Yes, there are certain milk products which is very famous in India, which are really good out here. I enjoy them more.
What do you think about Gajar ka Halwa?
Oh, I had it this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gajar ka halwa is sweet. It's not that sweet too because of the carrot in it.
I guess it depends on the carrots.
So gajar ka halwa I feel is very overrated. Over these few years, I feel like people have just overhyped it. But using a vegetable as a part of a dessert, I feel it's kind of like I'm not okay with it.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
assuming it's made well and all, where do you rate Gajar ka halwa?
I would rate it as from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I would rate it as 6.5 if it's made well. But then, yeah, not a
Okay.
big fan of it.
Okay.
Maybe a 4.5. Let's be honest about it.
6.5.
It's something that is piquing my interest, and I already smelled it walking past.
I love it. I'm not kidding. So I would just say that I really like that it has a slight savory kick to it, which is actually elevating the sweetness of this gajar ka halwa. Liking it.
Definitely something I would eat again.
I didn't think it would be this good, but I'm not a dry fruit person, so if we cut down the dry fruits, the gajar ka halwa and bacon do go well, but you don't really feel that there's there's bacon. I don't know, maybe I'll have another bite too.
I think for some reason the sweetness on this is masking the saltiness that would normally come out through a bacon. It's definitely giving a very barbecue vibe because you got that very sweet tone plus the smokiness from the bacon.
It goes well with the badam rather than the raisins.
The dry fruits, I think, is what still brings you back to a gajar ka halwa. But I think blindfolded, if you tasted this, you would not really associate it with the gajar ka halwa, if I'm being honest, because it's savory enough because of the bacon, and obviously it's meaty, so you're not thinking of dessert.
One more thing, the pieces are good, but I think they should have processed slightly tinier because I feel like the texture of the gajar doesn't mix well with the texture of the bacon.
Okay.
But overall, it's amazing.
This definitely improves a gajar ka halwa in my mind. Let's put it that way.
The bacon kind of overpowers the gajar ka halwa, so you really don't get the sweetness of the gajar ka halwa. That's my take.
This lands definitely higher. I think somewhere around an 8. Yeah.
A 7. If you're calling this a gajar ka halwa, because I am not getting that much taste of gajar.
That would be 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Alright folks, it's time for me to taste this bacon gajar ka halwa. And honestly for me, if you know me at all, you know that Indian sweets aren't something I really enjoy. So a gajar ka halwa would be around 5.5 for me on 10, a regular gajar ka halwa. But let's see how this bacon one is. It is confusing. Sweet, savory, but it is good. It's like one of those things that as I'm eating it, it's confusing you. Do I like it? Do I not like it? I think I don't like it. But you know what? I want to eat more. I like it. This definitely is a super interesting flavor profile. Not gonna lie. Is it better than regular gajar ka halwa? Definitely. I'd rate this 7 on 10. And that's my honest review of my own cooking. I definitely feel I can tweak this recipe a bit, sort of adjust a few things, and it'll be even better. And I'll make sure that the final recipe on the blog post has all my tips and tricks and everything you need. So go to headbangerskitchen.com and check that out. Anyway, enough jibber jabber from me. I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, cheers and keep meating. That means eat meat. Oh, and of course, thank you to all my supporters on Patreon and on the YouTube channel memberships. Anyway, let me know in the comments what Indian vegetarian dish would you like me to add meat to next.